Good Tuesday evening, everyone, and welcome to this edition of WPBS Weekly Inside the Stories. I'm Stefan Brunson. Tonight, we begin with part 3 of our 4-part series on addiction prevention and treatment. Addiction can affect anyone at any time, no matter your age or social status. That includes our young people. Teaching preventative measures early on can greatly reduce a teen's risk of using, which is why it's critical to curtail substance use at an early age. Keeping our kids safe from drug and alcohol use is of utmost importance to parents, teachers, law enforcement, healthcare workers, and more. Youth substance use prevention works to delay the onset of the use of substances, legal or illegal, by our younger population. When youth start using substances at a young age, they are more at risk for developing problems with addictions later in life.
Unfortunately, we see that even 11-year-olds initiate alcohol use, some marijuana use, and again, the younger people are when they initiate, the more likely they are to develop problems along the way. We also see that by the time young people are in 8th grade, 9th grade, that substance use, regular substance use, escalates significantly. There are a number of things that parents can do, and one of the most important ones really is to maintain open lines of communication. Signal to the youth that they are available, that they are open-minded, that they're not judging either their own teens or other teens who may be using substances. It's also very important for parents to understand that even during the most rebellious times of their teenagers' lives, they are the most important person to talk about prevention. As oftentimes as parents we think, well, our kids don't really listen to us. Time after time, research indicates that parents are the primary preventers of substance use. Networking with other parents is incredibly important for several reasons. For one thing, youth tell us that most of their initiation into substance use, primarily it's with alcohol, takes place either on the sly in their own home or at the home of a friend's home. So as parents, we want to make sure that the parents of the kids our kids hang out with are in sync with our expectations, what we expect our teenager to do or not to do. So creating that network also creates another line of supervision, because if my kid understands fully that my expectation, and that young person also understands fully what the friend's parents' expectations are, that creates another network of supervision, and which also creates a safety net for both young people. Parents can establish a safe place to have conversations with their own teens about substance use, and also by modeling appropriate behaviors. We tend to think our kids don't really pay attention to what we do, but they do. They watch everything we say and what we do, and they're exquisitely in tune in finding the discrepancies. So do as I say, but don't do as I do, really is signals to the teenager that there may be a trust issue involved, and it also presents a barrier for open and honest conversation with a parent. So as parents, we really have to pay close attention how we conduct ourselves in our own homes, and how we speak, and how we conduct ourselves when we're out in the community.
One way to keep kids from using substances found in the home is by safely storing drugs and alcohol.
It is vitally important for parents of teenagers to understand that it is easier to monitor and to store substances in a safe place than having to deal with issues down the line. For example, the alcohol in a locked alcohol cabinet. It is very difficult sometimes for kids to resist the peer pressure. If a friend or several friends come in the home and somebody has the idea, well, let's check out the liquor cabinet. Well, it's not going to happen if that liquor cabinet is locked. And the teenager is then not put into a position of having to resist the pressure from the friends who are visiting in the home.
Safe storage lockboxes are available free of charge from organizations such as Alliance for Better Communities in Jefferson County, and UP Coalition in Lewis County, and the Messina Drug-Free Community Coalition in St. Lawrence County. They're often used particularly for prescription medications.
Because we know from surveys, official surveys, as well as by focus groups, that youth use substances, prescription medications that were not prescribed to them, either from their own home, from grandparents' home, or from the home from friends. So really the prudent thing for adults to do is to put their prescription medications into a lockbox and safely store it in another locked location. That way nobody can give into the temptation of trying medications that were not prescribed to them. Some of these medications can be narcotic-based medications, and given the fact that we're still in the middle of an opiate epidemic, it is just simply prudent. It makes good sense for parents to keep themselves and their children and their teenagers safe by storing it and by monitoring it. Marijuana is legal to use in New York State. Our big concern really is regarding the edibles as well as other high-content THC products. To keep them safe, to keep them locked away, and to keep them inaccessible, particularly to young kids, because some of the edibles, they are lookalikes to, for example, gummy bears. They are lookalikes to brownies or to gum, because these edibles come in such a large variety of candies, gums, and such things, that it is very easy for particularly young children, as well as older children, to mistake it for candy, consume it, and really have very, very negative consequences, including having to go to the emergency room for poisoning. It is so important for young people to get help early, because the younger the individual is who is using substances, the higher the likelihood that an addiction may develop over time. So it becomes important to disrupt that progression and to mitigate already what has taken place.
If you suspect that your child might be using, help is available. No judgments, no guilt trips, just help, and happy to provide it. Contact one of the numbers or websites on your screen for information, referral services, and short-term counseling.